it's time to move the birds. We move them once a week, and I'm talking about the hens here. We move them once a week. They've got a pretty big compound here, so they're not, they're not going to be super destructive over such a large space. But the longer you leave them, the more they do. They actually like to dig a lot of holes for doing dust baths and that kind of stuff. And that does start to add up. I found that they really love to hang out at the base of trees. Trees and bushes. Anything that's sort of a real sense of shade, they like to get underneath it and just sort of camp. And that's fine. But you can see it also, they really tend to disturb the area around these things. So you got to judge it for yourself, but I don't recommend, if you're doing sort of this kind of mobile activity with your hens, I don't recommend leaving them in one place for more than a week. I have another reason for that as well, and that is that if they're in one place for a long time, they become part of the landscape and everybody becomes familiar with them and what they're about. And that means predators and things that like to eat them. So by moving things around, you disturb routine and take away sort of other critters' comfort with coming in and helping themselves. So I'm going to move them this morning over to a new piece of ground over behind the house. They've been there before. I'm trying to have about an 8-week cycle. So once I move the hens off of a piece of ground, I want it to be 8 weeks until they're back on that same piece of ground to try and give it a chance to recover a little bit. But they're really like creatures of habit. So once you get there, they seem to go right back to the spots that they really enjoyed before. So there's something to those places where they really like to just dig in and just sort of nestle down into these little dirt nests that they build for themselves. But we're going to get this stuff moved. I start by packing up the fencing. I pick up all of the extra stuff for them, the feeders and the waters and all that, and I put it into the mule. And then once that's done, I'll hook up the coop and drive it over to the new location and then begin a new setup. As far as the rooster, that I have to move by hand. He's a little bit mean, so I don't want to mess with him too much. But he's got to be moved over there to be closer to his girls or he'll really lose his mind. Everybody, super slow. Stressful enough that they're not out yet, but now they're getting knocked around by me. Nah, they don't need that. Yeah, we just take it slow. Got a new little pond action over there. We had a lot of rain this week over a couple of days. It's been good. temperature was 97 when the first storm started. And by the time the storm was done, which actually lasted a couple hours, really strong, but when it was done, it was 79. So that was a nice drop in temperature. It felt really good. All right, now I'll basically just reverse the process and get them set back up. This is the bush that they love to be under, and so the vegetation underneath it, like the weeds and stuff, they won't last long. These guys will get in there and dig out their little holes and then just settle in for a week. So, but there's shade, it keeps them cool, and we got the mister now with the fan, so we can blow the mist across them and helps drop the temperature as well. So, kind of get them set up. All right, got the ladies set in place. I still have to put up the fence, but I want to make sure I get all my movement pieces of this thing done before I start putting up the fence, because last thing you want to do is you get your fence up and then realize you got to take a bunch of it down because you forgot to bring the rooster. My first time doing this, I got all excited about placing the fence and getting it in the right place and all that. I built it up and then went over and hooked up the coop and started driving over and realized that wasn't going to work. I did that entirely in the wrong order. All right, now I got to get Sauron set up. I'll start by putting my wheels on, because this is, of course, just one of my broiler pens. There we go, that's one. And slide it on. Good. All right, there it is. He's over here, not happy about the cat checking everything out. Where is he? Oh, there he is. But that'll be a good spot for him. You can see all his girls. All right, I got to put up the fence now. All right, now I set the corner posts to put some tension on the fence. And these girls are good to just enjoy their days and check out the new environment.